following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
This is Talkin Cowboys. Streaming live from the Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star in Frisco.
Handoff, Elliott plowing to the goal line. Barry, sacked by Lord. Prescott keeps it, and he bangs it in for the touchdown.
Now, your hosts, Mickey Spagnola, Rob Phillips, Everson Walls, and Bill Jones.
Well, we got about half of that.
Two
right
out of
this
four ain't
week.
bad.
That's okay.
500 here, buddy.
We've
Yeah.
seen that a couple times throughout the offseason. We've got some fill-ins today.
Who's running this show anyway?
Yeah,
that's what I want to know.
Technically Chris Beam is running the show. And the other side, I'm not just leaving you guys hanging, but
all right.
I am filling in for Bill Jones. I'm Kyle Yeomans alongside the legendary Mr. Mickey Spagnola off to my right.
Let's go easy on that.
The also legendary.
That's a lot to live
You're
up
legendary,
to. You know?
all right. We've got a couple legends here. You've got Everson Walls across the table from me in his normal chair, and then the other fill-in on the desk today for Talkin Cowboys, Mr. Heckma Harrison, making his Dallas Cowboys radio debut. Welcome, Heckma.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Heckma and Everson. That's a great combo.
You like the ring of that?
Yeah, man. Yes.
I feel like you guys could have your own separate conversations on that side of the table.
Just on our names alone.
Fighting back and forth. That's true. And the names. I feel like great names. And then you've got Mickey and Kyle on this side.
Yeah, I know. Spags is just Spags. Nothing exciting about Spags.
That's right. Nothing.
Yeah, he's just Spags.
You had a defensive coordinator in the Super Bowl named Spags.
That's
so
right.
That. I mean,
Absolutely.
you have that claim to fame with that name. But
Great quote from Andy Reid about that too.
What's that?
He said he was He said Spags was one of the most imaginative people I've ever met. I'm putting that in a headline.
That's how you write your articles.
You have that
just
printed
imagine
out.
Stuff, right?
Have it at your desk. You'll get it engraved on like a rock or something.
Yeah.
Put it up there. It'd be your new paperweight.
T-shirts.
Something like that.
T-shirts.
Yeah, we need to start selling Spags T-shirts. But welcome, Heckma. I'm glad to be along with you guys because I get to produce the shows on the majority of the time, but getting a couple hosting duties while Bill is out and also Rob Phillips out as well. And congratulations to Rob, by the way, having a kid and just an incredible week for him. And I know he's probably watching back home.
He's way too old to be having a kid. Come on, man.
What do you mean? It's his first one.
It's his first kid.
I know.
He's overwhelmed.
He should have done
That's
it like
what he
he
is.
should have done it like at 21. He'd been like me. He'd be done by now. You know, it's over. You know, let the kids go. Yeah. Now he's got so much ahead of him.
That's right.
Goodness. Woo, man.
Best years of your life.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Best years of your life.
Famous last words.
There's the first argument.
Which are the
two.
best? I want to know. The first 10 years or the next 10 years?
Actually, the next 10.
Right?
Yeah, because, you got the hang of it now. I was talking about my daughter. She was premature, man. And when she finally came from the hospital, it was like 2 months. And now, there she is, And I'm at home, I'm in the bed, I'm looking at her like, what the hell do I do now? There's no nurses, right? Who's changing this baby? So, yeah, it was, the first ones are tough. Then it's the second 10. That's when you're like, okay, you can kind of see them forming. It's like clay. You
Right.
kind of see them forming a little bit. If you don't like it, then you can just ignore them like I did.
This is great, Mr. Wall.
I know, man. You got some fatherly advice to take home with you.
Breaking down those walls with Everson Walls. Well, we've got plenty to talk about other than that topic overall, but it's been the offseason, but there's a lot of options still open for the Dallas Cowboys, and that's kind of where really all the conversation has been. You've heard over the past couple of weeks the crazy talks about Dak and trading, and we'll get into
Brady
Dak. We're not
Brady.
Yeah, I don't know if we're gonna. We might not entertain that one as much.
We will
but,
not good. That's good.
We are going to talk about some options for Amari Cooper. Talk about some of the old heads for the Cowboys: Sean Lee, Des Bryant, a couple guys that have been in the news over the last week or so, and then I'll give you some multiple choice scenarios at the end of this show as to how the Cowboys could handle this offseason. I know Mickey's going to love that. He's going to probably tear them to
B,
shreds.
C, and D.
Yeah, that's exactly
You
it.
don't get an
right
E.
here.
You don't get an
You don't
E.
get an
No
E.
E.
All of the above.
He is none. He would be the none of the above.
But
That at least gave me a shot on this test, right? Multiple choice.
there's not supposed to be an E here.
Oh, man.
Well, I do want to talk and start talking about Dak Prescott. And, of course, the news over the last couple of days has been what Michael Irvin said, and then the headlines kind of running with that, saying the Cowboys could look at Dak Prescott trading him basically for Tom Brady. I don't know if we want to get facetious with this at all because, man, I don't see that happening. I really don't. I think that's kind of just headline grabbing. Mickey, I feel like you have a lot to get off your plate on this because you look like you're just raring to go here. Is that even a possibility?
Seriously?
Exactly.
Seriously? I mean, who makes this shit up?
Well,
let's get started.
Our producer is here.
One. Yeah,
man, I'm taking my jacket off on that one.
Yeah,
but it's getting hot in here.
That's the thing. It's been
welcome,
taken
guys.
with.
Welcome to Talkin Cowboys.
Yeah, ever since I broke the ice immediately, right?
It's been taken. It's been run with. But there's no substantial evidence for that whatsoever. I know Colin Cowherd was pretty much the one that got the ball rolling, saying, "Oh, you know the money's there, and there's so many different things that you got to look at." Dak Prescott's going to be your quarterback in 2020. Am I wrong by saying that?
No, you're not wrong.
You're exactly right.
But look, what's new? And I wrote it last Friday, right? Mm-hmm. Cowboys and quarterbacks, right?
Yeah.
It's always something. And we can go back
the off-season is always.
We can go back to the first quarterback in Cowboy history, right? And how it started, or I should say the second. How the Cowboys got Don Meredith. Mm-hmm. The NFL didn't want Don Meredith to go to the AFL, right?
Right.
The Cowboys didn't have a draft choice their first year in 1960.
He was my best. He's the best.
And so the Bears drafted Don Meredith to trade him to the Cowboys so the Dallas Texans didn't get him in the AFL.
Yeah.
So we can just start right there with the history of Cowboy quarterbacks. And
what about the quarterback carousel?
Yeah.
That they had with Craig Morton and Roger Staubach.
Alternating snaps.
Alternating drives.
Yeah.
which was, well, it's almost the same ridiculous notion. At that time, everyone was pretty upset with Tom about that, but he decided to go his own way. He wanted the pocket passer. He wanted the classic quarterback as opposed to the more agile and very daring Roger Staubach. Tom did not believe in Staubach when he first came to the Cowboys. I mean, not at all. I mean, you don't alternate series if you have confidence in either one of your quarterbacks. They were almost waiting to settle for one or the other. And finally, Roger, of course, was more successful in what he did, even though Tom hated the fact that he wouldn't throw the ball when he was supposed to. I have this design to go to Bob Hayes. I have this design to go to Drew Pearson. I have a design to go to Mike Ditka. What are you doing?
And so Roger had a mind of his own.
He had a whole mind of his own, and thank God for that, right?
Yeah. And look how he got here,
exactly.
right? You draft a guy in the 10th round. There was a Heisman. So there's been headlines on Cowboy quarterbacks forever. Nothing's changed.
Comes with the position.
This we just continue to go. When Roger retired, right? It's going to be in a month and a half when he surprisingly retired. You know, people didn't know that. And then Danny White took over. How did Danny White get here? Well, he got drafted in the 3rd round, but signed a personal services contract with the WFL to play in Memphis. So it was always one thing after another after
WFL,
another.
Man,
remember
it's
that?
Going back, man.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
And now you've got the XFL to talk about.
You know, and then Danny takes over 3 consecutive NFC title games, and Tom decides, I think this Hogaboom guy's going to take over, and that
with a little help from us,
right?
Yeah,
right,
yeah. We had
exactly.
a little poll going in the Dallas Morning
and then
News
that didn't work so well.
Not at all.
So, Mickey, don't you think at times like these, when the media speculation is at an all-time high, Michael Irvin makes a statement like that about a potential trade, you say who makes this stuff up, but that's when the media machine starts because no one knows for sure exactly what's going to happen. And obviously, the priority is re-signing Dak, but if all of the speculation and rumors are true that the Cowboys offer 33 and they arbitrarily turn that down for more money, that's what I think is kind of the driving force behind some of these outrageous rumors that you're starting to hear.
You got Michael Irvin, who I'm surprised he would even fall into that. I'm surprised he would even feed that notion at all. So that's what surprised me. Now, and that's what really gave it legs. Otherwise, who was the guy? Colin? Colin
Cowboy.
He just hates to see Brady go. He's a Brady guy. That's all it is.
He always has been.
Yeah, it's just him hoping for Brady. Let Brady fend for himself. He's a grown man. He's got a wife making more money than God. So Brady's going to be okay.
And I kind of want to
to the Dallas Cowboys.
And by the way, your Colin guy is a great guy at throwing mashed potatoes at the wall.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
And he just hopes something will stick.
You can tell.
Well, and one of the reasons why it's stuck is it kind of goes back to what you were talking about, but a little bit different. You were talking about how Tom Landry didn't have faith in Roger Staubach back in the day. Now we can kind of put that into the spotlight that the quarterback position has on it now, but it's the fans that don't have faith in the quarterback position for the Dallas Cowboys. You can go back to Tony Romo. I mean, it was very quick for Dak Prescott to get into Tony Romo realm of, hey, you haven't won a Super Bowl just yet,
right.
So you're terrible.
Right.
We've got to get somebody better in here. It didn't take very long for those conversations to have, and I think, like Mickey just said, that's a brilliant point of Colin Cowherd throwing mashed potatoes at the wall. It's stuck because there's a lot of fans out there that are not happy that Dak Prescott.
The fans are never happy. They hated Romo, and then when he left, they loved him.
And then
they hate Dak right now, and every time he throws a touchdown, it's the loudest cheer you hear in Texas.
It's incredible. It's incredibly.
Right. And they booed Troy Aikman off the field his last year.
Isn't that something?
So let's not give the fans too much credit.
Well,
that's true.
And
that's
I also,
true.
in not giving the fans as much credit, I want to just say the grass is not always greener on the other side. Look at the quarterback market right now. You've got Phillip Rivers out there. Is he better than Dak Prescott?
No.
Taysom Hill? No.
Who?
Hill. Exactly.
Oh, did you see what he had to say?
No, what did he have to say?
He wants to be a starting quarterback.
To be a franchise quarterback.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've got Andy Dalton.
And he's willing to leave. And there's one little caveat in that whole thing that I think everybody ignored. He's a restricted free agent.
Yeah.
So if the Saints want to tender him,
they can match.
Somebody going to give up a second-round pick for him?
For a guy
of course.
Of
course someone is, because it's all about paying on potential. It's not productivity. It's all about potential. If you look at the quarterbacks that have gotten big paydays, they didn't all deserve them.
Yeah, but at least they had played quarterback.
But again, the potential had been there as well.
Yeah, and I think it would take a desperate team to do that, to give up a second-round pick.
There's a lot of desperate teams.
Yeah, I think there are those guys out there. But you've got other guys like Ryan Tannehill hitting the market.
There's a lot of desperate teams.
Yeah.
Talking about Carolina, Cam Newton's potentially on the market. Jameis Winston's out there. The grass is not always greener on the other side.
Jameis Winston, wow. Just talk about a weird career.
Cam Newton.
Can you throw as many touchdowns?
No weirder than Jameis, but
can you throw as many touchdown passes as interceptions?
Dude, and it's not just the way he throws interceptions. It's like, it bounced off this dude's butt, man, and it hit me in the face. And then he's got it. It's a defensive lineman, and he's running the other way, and there's Jameis trying to catch him, and he might trip over himself and hurt his shoulder. I mean, it's just that's him. He's like a schlep rock.
Well, and we had some saving grace this morning, the fact that maybe we won't have to test that quarterback market, and hopefully we won't. I don't think we will. But as the Cowboys were reported this morning by Ian Rappaport to have said that they are trying to push before that March 10th deadline of franchise tagging players. They want to try and get a deal done. That's no surprise to anybody with Dak Prescott. Now, talking about Dak in the quarterback market, now the market's going to change in terms of quarterbacks and the money that he could get paid just based off of some of these bigger contracts like a Patrick Mahomes, like a Deshaun Watson. Is it possible that his representatives are looking at Dallas and kind of having an eye on Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes contracts, saying, let's wait this out. Let's slow play this. Let's hardball it at the beginning. That way, whenever the market resets, Dak Prescott's market value goes from around $33 million and it skyrockets to 35, 36, 37 million. He can kind of squeeze every inch out of that contract that he possibly can.
When you start talking about these kind of millions, and I know it sounds trivial, but there's all this drama for just really a little bit more pocket change. I mean, in relatively speaking, you're talking about a lot more drama. You're talking about, possibly going from, like you said, $33 million to $35 million.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. It's $2 million, but in the big scheme of things, and the way the money is flowing around here, are we just posturing? Are both sides just posturing?
Yeah, and they are. And this thought occurred to me yesterday, and I was going to write it for my mix shots tomorrow. But what if his side would welcome the franchise tag, which would allow them, if they want, to go out and see what other teams think Dak Prescott is worth. Because technically now they can't, right?
Right.
That's true.
Wink, wink.
True.
But right now, market value is what other quarterbacks are making, right? And to the Cowboys, market value is what he's worth to us. But they can't find out what Cincinnati thinks of Dak Prescott. Like, could they go out and troll for an offer sheet to see how much somebody else would pay for him? Then they can come back to the Cowboys and go, well, they're talking about...
It depends on if you're the Redskins, the Miami Dolphins,
Right.
New York Giants versus Buffalo, Patriots, or some other team that we couldn't beat, the Saints themselves. Those, if you look at the games where we lost games, Dak didn't have good games.
Right.
So they might look at him totally differently.
Yeah, and they might find out, what the Cowboys are offering is pretty good because these other teams aren't going to give us that much on an offer sheet. So maybe they'll welcome that. Now, from the Cowboys standpoint, you want to get it done because you'd like to save that franchise in case you need to use it elsewhere. Because if you get Dak done right before you hit the tag deadline, then if you don't get Amari done, you could franchise Amari and you could use a transition tag on, say, Byron Jones. And then you got the rights to those guys
And
anyway.
Cobb. We're still talking about we got to keep Cobb.
And try to sign him.
Yeah.
So there's some benefits to getting it done before you have to use the franchise
And
tag
then you
on
have
a
to worry
quarterback.
about as well, okay, do we want to prioritize our receivers? Or do we want to prioritize some defense?
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, what's the priority? Okay, you got Dak. Now, are the receivers next? Or do we like, hey, man, we need to get some defense so that Dak won't have to go 75 yards every drive?
It seems like the Cowboys don't want to set the market on quarterbacks, obviously. And what's interesting as well is what was the going price in 2019 before 2018 before the negotiation process started? I think everyone was in the $28-30 million range, and now that skyrocketed after Seattle's quarterback signed his deal. Wilson signed his deal at 35, and so. With Dak coming back to the table saying, look, 33 is not acceptable. I want something in the range of 35. And I don't know, this is all speculation, 35, 36. Now you're setting the market at the quarterback position, whereas now with the cloud of Patrick Mahomes' contract looming and the CBA, that could easily be $40 million. And that blows everything that we're talking about right now out of the water.
But
so,
because
everyone
Kansas City
that
gives them 40 doesn't mean I got to give my guy 40.
There you
but
go.
that's the way it goes.
Right.
That's the way
that
it goes.
guy won a
He's
Super
going to say,
Bowl.
okay, I don't get 40, but now instead of going for like you said, 30 or 32, I want 37
But that's
now.
the question. You say Pat
Okay.
Mahomes
You see what I'm
and
saying?
also Deshaun Watson.
But here's the bottom line. It's not the 35 or 40. It's the guaranteed money.
Absolutely.
That's huge.
And these contracts have camouflaged what the guaranteed money was. When I went and looked back at Wentz's contract, and you look at what the guaranteed money was, it's $25.7 million a year. That's what guaranteed. And they had the ability, because he still had 1 year left on his contract, to spread some of the signing bonus out over another year. So if you take what Wentz made in his original deal in 2019, which was his rookie contract, and spread it out. Then you got to spread 6 years over that total, and it comes to $25 million. If you look at Goff's guaranteed money, it was $27.5. So I
And
don't care.
those are the ones that are basically in his class.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't care about what the big money is. That's the agent money. I want to know what the guarantee is, because
Kirk Cousins.
they can get
Kirk
out
Cousins.
of Kirk Cousins' guarantee. It was $84 million over 3, all guaranteed. So my math on Kirk Cousins is $28 million a year. So
Guaranteed.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
28.
That was the difference maker in that one.
So 3 years, $28 million a year. So does Dak want $28 million? Can he going to get 27 if he gets franchised for 1 year? So again, do you want your $20 million in the bank tomorrow on your signing bonus, or do you want to have to work for your $27 million and get paid like the rest of us on a weekly basis? Well, some of the rest of us.
Come on. Well,
even if his weekly
Come on.
basis.
That's like 1.7 a week, man.
in 17 weeks. Right?
Take that.
Well, and going off of
1.7 a week.
That was quick math here, buddy.
I'm saying.
going off of what you were talking about, Mickey saying you don't want to pay him exactly what Kansas City's paying their guy. Kind of got a stat for you here of the top 10 quarterback contracts in the NFL right now, and that includes guaranteed money because I checked both of them. There are only 3 quarterbacks that have a higher career passing rating than Dak Prescott: Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Jimmy Garoppolo. So you're looking at a guy who's right now 5th in MVP odds, by the way, for 2020. He's at 18-1, only behind Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, and Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking at a top 10 quarterback. Potentially, would you be willing to say that Dak
There's no
is
doubt he's top
10
There's no
quarterback?
potential at
Sure.
all. No, not potentially. He's real.
You
He's
gotta
been
get it
proving
done.
that since he's been in the league.
100%. And he's a winner. Even
He's a
though they
winner.
went 8-8 with a coaching
Still a
staff
winner.
that was
Still a winner.
an issue at
Yes.
least, there's still that positive growth from Dak Prescott, and you can even say that this year going into next year. Now, some of that positive growth that Dak Prescott has endured has been a big reason because of Amari Cooper and what he has done. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk about Amari's status going into the offseason or continuing with the offseason. What do the Dallas Cowboys do with Amari Cooper? And we might talk about the wide receiver market as well, see what's out there, because there's been some interesting developments in that as well when we return here on Talkin Cowboys.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus.
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. Based on GWS 1 score September 2019.
Do you want the most interesting, up-to-the-minute Dallas Cowboys news straight from the Star in Frisco? How about exclusive and on command? That's right, news and nuggets you can't find anywhere else. With our exclusive Cowboys content on Alexa, you can have all the answers, secrets, stories, and more. What's Stephen Jones thinking during a game? What's Joe Looney's favorite pregame meal? We take your questions to Cowboys players and coaches, and you can hear the answers directly back to you. Just say, Alexa, open Dallas Cowboys.
Whether you're into being a part of this or more into something like this, SeatGeek has the tickets to the events you love. It's the easiest way to find, buy, and sell tickets. Plus, with their Deal Score technology, they'll recommend the best seats in the house at the best value. So the next time you're craving this, download the SeatGeek app and let's go. SeatGeek.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time again for Tailgating with the OtterBox Boys.
OtterBox, the company that builds wildly overprotective phone cases?
The one and only. But cases are just the start. OtterBox is the official outfitter of tailgating.
If they can keep my phone safe, what can they do for my parking lot party?
How about protecting your beverages from suboptimal drinking temperatures with their elevation tumblers? And OtterBox elevation tumblers come in 3 sizes: a 10-ouncer, a 20-ouncer, and even a 64-ounce growler.
Check out all the colors and sizes of their elevation tumblers at otterbox.com.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
Back here from the SWBC Mortgage Studio at the Star in Frisco, Talkin Cowboys here on a rainy Tuesday morning. I was about to say afternoon, but it's still the morning.
Still kind of, I don't think it's raining as much as just wet and ugly.
Yeah, it's supposed to continue throughout
More
the
on
day.
the way.
It's cold. Yeah, it's just not
Just
not
think
ideal.
if it was about 10 degrees colder.
No. No, I don't even imagine.
We'd have about a foot of
Let's
snow.
stop thinking that, right? I got to walk my dog, man. He's stopped up.
Mickey's just trying to get out of work here on a Tuesday.
Or go back and go skiing, though. A week after I get back from skiing, it snowed 3 feet.
Oh, wow.
And I was sitting there going, so was I unfortunate or lucky?
You
And I'm
were
going,
lucky.
I was
Little bit of
lucky
both.
because I
Lucky,
can't ski in 3 feet
No,
of
you were
snow.
definitely lucky.
Yeah.
I went skiing once with American Airlines. They had this deal. It was great. A lot of stars were there. And so they give you all the equipment. So I'm skiing, and they're teaching me at the class, and we're doing these moves and all that. They don't give you gloves. So I fell twice.
What do you mean? You didn't wear gloves?
They're supposed to give you gloves.
Oh.
You gave me everything else. Skis. They supplied everything but gloves. And when I failed twice, it's over, bro. I walked out of class.
You were
They were
done.
mad at me. Yeah, they were mad at me because I left. I just like, and you know, so funny.
Well, you didn't
all
like
the
think
moves that
you
they
should-
tried to get me to do, right?
Yeah.
I did them perfectly as I left the class. I was like, I'm out of here, and I was like, shh. I was like, well, okay, wait a minute, maybe I should turn back around. But now it's too late, man.
So
My
you
hands
went
are
out
cold.
there barehanded?
Yes, because
That's
they didn't
cold.
give us gloves,
No
man.
thanks.
I mean, if you're gonna supply everything, you must give us gloves. I'm not a skier, and I will never be a skier. I just found that out when I went to that event. I will never be a skier.
Well, I just found out that Mickey was an avid skier just this past week. We
Avid?
talked about it at lunch, and one of my favorite
Olympic qualifier.
Yeah, exactly.
right.
One of my favorite visuals is just seeing Mickey maybe going down like a black diamond and just going back and forth. Like I think that'd be just.
Is he joking or is this serious?
No,
this is 100% serious.
As long as there's not a mogul, I can go down black diamond.
You can?
Yeah, I can
He's-
do it
he's a
steep.
better
I just
skier
can't
than
do
I
like
am.
my brother.
But if there's bumps, I'm out.
Yeah, you're like my brother. So you can't do the slalom thing?
Yeah, no.
It's got to be straight down.
No, not straight down. But,
Okay.
you know,
I need to train
Pretty
you.
good.
I could get you ready.
I could go down.
I can get you ready for the bumps.
I could go down. I did the where was it? Snow Basin in Utah. I did the women's downhill run, and I'm
good for
going
you.
down, and I'm realizing I'm
don't
going
think it matters.
like
It's
way
all
too
scary.
fast. I'm going way too fast than I should be, so I
Right.
start checking myself. Right?
So,
Turn,
Mickey, are
turn.
you the guy in the Wide World of Sports, Agony of Defeat?
Yeah, no.
That's you.
That's on the men's side. That's not the women's down there.
When I was covering the Olympics, they took us up to the top of the ski jump,
I know it's scary.
and I looked down, and I'm going.
Tempted.
They
No way.
I would have fought tooth and nail if they were trying to push me down that thing.
Oh man, let's talk Amari Cooper here, and of course Cooper being just with the Cowboys for the past season and a half, he's still relatively, I guess, new on the radar in terms of his tenure with the Cowboys, and there's a small sample size as to him potentially disappearing in big games. I mean, we've seen him. The one that most notably stands out to me was the New York
Patriots
Jets game, the
game.
Patriots game too.
Yeah.
The both of them. The one that I thought was the Jets game when he kind of sat himself out a couple times. Now injury wise, we never.
Well,
really
I don't know
heard
that
anything.
he disappeared. He got hurt. And
Exactly.
He only played 3 plays.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I'm saying is he's had these lingering issues health wise that nobody's really talking about going into the offseason. There's been the question on if he's 100% healthy, if he's going to be that game-changing number one wide receiver that is the 1 to Michael Gallup's 2 for Dak Prescott in this offense. Is that something that we need to be having a conversation on, is his health and if he's ready to go come 2020?
I think the conversation needs to be, first of all, last season, it chipped away at everybody's reputation. I mean, let's just be real. It was one of those weird seasons where everyone was worried about what was going to go wrong after things were going so right. So you've got Cooper, who was a guy that, okay, pull us out of this, Cooper, like you did the year before. You know, you came in, you made just miracles happen. And when that didn't happen, then now all of a sudden we're looking at Cooper, okay, what is wrong with Cooper? Why didn't the Raiders keep him? Now we start asking these kind of questions. As far as I'm concerned, Cooper is that game changer. He changed our offensive future. Okay, he was a guy that made us realize the potential that we had. Gallup was able to steady himself because you had the focus taken off of him by having Cooper on the other side, as far as I was concerned. So I think Cooper is that guy. I think last year was just one that tested everyone's resolve in a very unique way. And I think when you start looking at erasing all of that, and then starting over this year, I still think Cooper will be that guy that came in during the middle of the season and was ready to go. Those injuries that you talk about, I think it affected him. And I think maybe Spag knows better. But when you have players that are so hesitant to say that they're hurt, to admit that they're hurt, and wants to get out there and play in spite of the fact that they're hurt, and then they realize that they stepped a little bit too high on that ladder because, man, I'm more hurt than I thought I was. now your reputation starts to suffer because you got to pull yourself out of the game. Oh, well, wait a minute. You're pulling yourself out because this guy's D'ing you up? Right. Is that what it is? Well, no, that's not it. Well, say something. Well, nobody said anything. You see what I'm saying?
They weren't happy that he didn't say anything.
That's right.
Nope.
Because you cost him a spot on the roster.
That's right. And Cam Newton is another guy that does that all the time. You've got players that do that, and they just don't know. I get your pride. I get the fact that we read
it's a macho sport.
Macho sport. We see those old T.O. in the Super Bowl was a young blood with the Rams when he played on a broken fibia or something like that. These are the kind of things that that lore, we try to live up to that. You can't do that these days because the rules don't allow you to.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's not bring up the New England game.
Yeah.
Okay? One touchdown was scored in that game with the great Tom Brady, and he had to get the ball at the 12-yard line to do that.
Yeah.
So
that was just a sloppy game overall.
It was a sloppy game. And Belichick, and to say that Belichick is a great coach, he didn't do any better coaching than Jason Garrett did that game.
Right.
Take away the block punt, and
that's what I was just about to say. The special teams play really changed it all. But also, you have to look at the before and after effect of Amari Cooper. You know, what were we before he came, and then after, and then what you gave up for him. I mean, everyone wants to look and see why would the Raiders give up Amari Cooper? Obviously, they got the draft, they got the picks for it as well. I mean, superior route running ability. Those are just the things that you look for. He was all in this offense. To get the timing down with Dak, he's going to be awesome. You know, we're looking for that number 2, and we're hoping that Michael Gallup takes the helm to be that number 2 receiver. But right now, you cannot question Amari Cooper, especially his route running ability. He's just a tough kid, and you know, so much to be made about whether to franchise tag him, give him his money, don't give him his money. You traded the number 1 for him. You can't even think about getting rid of a guy that you traded the number 1 for 2 years ago.
Yeah, after a year and a half, not even 2 years.
Exactly, a year and a half. It's not even possible.
Yeah.
Mickey?
He's here.
Okay, come on now.
Somehow, some way, he's here.
Is he headed for the franchise tag if Dak is signed?
If they don't get it done in time, then you buy yourself 3 or 4 more months to negotiate.
It's not the final say-so.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's not the final say-so.
The franchise tag is a kind of a placekeeper. That's my spot at the table. And now I can continue for 4 months to work on this deal. Sort of what happened with DeMarcus Lawrence last year. He wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
It was no insult that they franchised him. It was to buy time to continue negotiating the contract if you can't get it done right away. And again, I think there's agents out there that would rather go out there and start, kind of canvassing the field and see what other people think my guy's worth. Because now I have the opportunity to do that legally.
Well, and you said that about Dak Prescott as well. If Dak Prescott's the one that ends up being tagged and gets that franchise tag, what happens to Amari Cooper?
Well,
then?
they can use the transition tag on
You can still use both.
Because you can use both because this is the final year of the CBA.
Right.
Okay.
But the other thing that's very interesting is how does Amari Cooper fit into Mike McCarthy's offense? When you look at his past offenses with having success with Jordy Nelson and guys that were not your speedster, burner, typical wide receivers, and with his offense being more of a West Coast short pass, yards after catch, things like that you would be expecting for Amari Cooper to fit into that offense when that may not. Yeah, exactly. So you're looking at strong suits, weaknesses, all of those things in this offense. How does he fit into that game plan?
Yeah, and I don't know that what McCarthy does offensively is that true West Coast from 15 years ago.
No, variation of it.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers stretched the field on you
right, a little bit.
Right?
Just a hair.
I can remember a 40-yard pass with 2 seconds.
I mean, come on, that's the world's best pass ever made in the world, right?
You allow people to do certain things. Now, this is my defensive guy coming out in me. Great plays are made, and I'm a victim of it, and I've seen it. Great plays are made because you allow people to make great plays.
Of course.
Okay? It's not he's there to do it, but only if you allow me to do it. But if you don't allow me to do it, then that's just another play that just didn't happen. And that's the thing that the Cowboys need to look at as far as wide receivers are concerned. You've got to have that receiver who's going to take advantage of any mistake a defensive backs make. Mm-hmm. So we're not just talking about Cooper.
Right.
We're talking about Cobb as well.
Yeah.
I think, God, we are so blessed to have Gallup, Cobb, and Cooper, and I think we need to keep them.
Right.
Even if it's at the expense of another unit, such as a tight end. We need more wide receivers at this point than we do capable tight ends, because we're going to be driven by how we do with our quarterback to wide receiver combination. I think that's going to be our alternative to Zeke's running the ball.
And you've been vocal about this over your time on the show as a whole, but especially today, talking about keeping Randall Cobb.
Yes,
and that's kind of where I want to go now, is talking about Randall Cobb and his offseason. Being on the draft show and hosting that, I've seen a lot of Cowboys draft Twitter falling in love with a very deep wide receiver class. And it's been names thrown at you like a CeeDee Lamb out of Oklahoma. You got T. Higgins out of Clemson.
Coming out.
You've got Henry Ruggs III out of Alabama.
Yeah,
You've
we're
got
all
a lot
talking
of guys
first-round picks
yes,
here, right?
Exactly.
Yes, we are.
But it's a deep enough wide receiver draft that you could get a number 3 wide receiver that could replace Randall Cobb. And a lot of draft nerds out there, like myself, have said Cobb may not be the same guy going into 2020. Why do you think that's not the case?
I think that's not the case. First of all, he didn't get much time last year or the year before that.
Okay.
I think he's had a chance for his legs to be a little bit fresher than normal. You saw last year where we were trying to get the ball to the tight ends on those big third downs, trying to get the ball to Witten, looking downfield for some other guy. Cobb is the guy. He let you know during the game that he's the guy. He barely got his 55 passes. He got his, $250,000 bonus or incentive clause, right? When you look at his effectiveness with Aaron Rodgers, when you look at his effectiveness with this same coach that we have now, sometimes you need that player that can help your QB transition into another style of offense. You've got to have a guy out there that is totally mentally embedded into what we're doing and what our goal is in this offense. We know how to run the ball. I don't care who it is. Zeke's going to be able to run the ball. I don't care how they block it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a passing scheme in critical moments, especially on third downs, you need a wide receiver that's going to understand exactly what the coaches want in this situation and what is called for by your wide receiver.
Could you say the same thing about Randall Cobb being that transition not only to a new offense but to a new coaching staff? The fact that he has had Mike McCarthy as a head coach.
Well, yeah,
before?
to him it's not a new coaching staff.
Yeah.
But that's my point. Because he's there, he will be that link.
Yeah.
He will be that link between the new coaching staff and the new offense.
So him like being a coach on the field, basically.
Yeah, and if you think about when new coaches have come in, they've always wanted
gotta have your guy.
Somebody.
You
right?
got to have your guy.
Think about what
That's
Bill
right.
did when he got here,
That's
right? He kind of got some of his guys.
You got to get your guy. Jimmy Johnson. You got to get your guys.
Right, brought some of those guys from Miami.
And if it's
here,
a coach
right?
or a player, when Jimmy came here, his guy was Michael Irvin.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mike was here first. I believe Mike was here first.
88.
In 88. Had a great last game against Darryl Green. We're like, okay, this guy is worth it. And then that offseason, I don't know if you guys heard about it. Spags, you probably heard about it. Michael Irvin was standing up giving speeches every day about how important it is for us to get behind this coach. Now, we ended up that year being 1-15. But for Mike and for Jimmy Johnson, that connection is what really made them as strong as they were going forward. And that's what you need with Cobb. You don't have a 1-15 team here. Okay? No, you don't. You have a championship caliber team. And Cobb could be that guy to just make that transition a lot smoother.
Yeah, Kyle, and just going back to the whole draft nerd aspect, you said it, man. There are a lot of wide receivers in this draft that should have first and second grade tags on them. But the thing is that I don't believe that the Cowboys would turn down an opportunity to upgrade at any position. Yep. And so if Cobb is here again, he's going to have to earn his keep like everyone else. He had great production last year, being able to get first downs and things like that. When you look at the wide receivers that are available in the later rounds, like a Duvernay from Texas, fast, tough guys that get the ball in their hands and can catch out. And so that's just and that's the main thing. And then going back to your point about the tight ends. I think that is going to be what the Cowboys have to look at as well, because, imitation is the highest form of flattery. And you look at both of the teams that made it to the Super Bowl, what did they have in common? Great tight ends. And so in order to
we've had it in common as well. I mean, with Jason Witten. It's just a matter of
But I think we'd all say that a little bit, there was a little bit of decline this year.
Oh, there's no doubt it's decline, but we have always been with the trend of going to tight ends.
Yeah.
Right.
That's my point.
And could I remind everybody that when it came to yards, the Cowboys were number 1 on offense this year?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like they were struggling along.
No.
They just didn't make plays at key times in key games to win those deals.
Red zone.
Right?
Yeah, red zone.
And I thought Kellen Moore spoke about it when they did the assistant coach car wash, talking about it. You can gain all the yards you want, but did I convert that third down? Did I convert that red zone play? Did I score the touchdown? And those are the things that bogged them down. Now, from a yard standpoint, they moved the ball.
Yeah,
100%. It's not just about that, though.
8 games, they scored 30 points.
It's not just about that.
But
it's
you got to make
score
that play.
It's
right?
when you score
exactly.
them. Yes.
And so, we're sitting here, they need this, and this. I get it. Mm-hmm. But they didn't have any problems moving the football.
They need to make sure that when they get to the red zone, when they get to that third down, once again, that's where a guy like Cobb comes right into play.
And just because you keep Randall Cobb doesn't mean you can't draft a wide receiver in the 4th or the 5th round in a deep wide receiver class. Like you said, Heckman, there are going to be 1st and 2nd round talents that are going to drop to the 3rd and the 4th round this year.
But how long am I going to have to wait for those guys to be productive?
That's the key.
Now, think about this. Other than the top 3 wide receivers last year, who was 4th most in wide receiver catches?
Is it Devin Smith? That's the question.
I want to say with 13 catches, it was Tavon Austin.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I didn't even think about it.
So think about it. So there's not like some guys here that they've groomed and like they're ready to take over.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, this draft is pivotal.
Drafting a wide receiver, if he's my 4th guy or my 5th guy,
if you're going to
right
draft a wide receiver, he better be able to return punts.
Yeah, that's
he
a big
better
thing.
be able to return punts because to me, at this point, if we keep it the way it is, we've got plenty of wide receivers to make it through the season. But he's got to do something different,
right?
Because we have guys that can run and catch and score.
See, and that was Devin Smith's problem.
Yeah,
you brought Devin Smith up. He could have been the 4th or 5th receiver, but he didn't return kicks. And so then he never was active, which was unfortunate because
he really showed me something.
Well, you can also think about
he teased me. Boy,
and he had it, and then they couldn't find a way to get him on the game day roster, which was a shame.
And you also have Tavon Austin and his punt returning blunder that he had. Remember, while he was in L.A., who was his special teams coordinator? Yeah, blunders. But who was his special teams coordinator in L.A.? John Fossil.
Yeah.
And that didn't work out necessarily the first time around either. Let's take a quick break. When we come back, I got some multiple choice scenarios. We've kind of talked through a little bit how the Cowboys could handle that offseason. We're going to decide it. We're going to play GM. We're going to put Mickey Spagnuolo in the GM shoes.
He
when
and
we
Jerry
come back.
have been practicing together.
I can spend other people's money really well.
We'll be back in a moment on Talkin Cowboys.
Since 1865, Stetson hats are American-made with pride right here in Texas. And Stetson is proud to be on the field with America's team. Want to show your Texas and team pride too? You can. By purchasing your own Stetson, you can look just like how the flag guys do on field at every home game. Stetson hats, the official crown of all self-respecting Cowboys and your favorite football team. Get yours today in the Stadium Pro Shop or at Stetson.com.
Your new apartment's big. Such a great deal.
It's okay.
Just okay? What's not to...
Right above the subway!
Well, I bet you don't even notice it after the...
That's my neighbor, Angus.
A deal that's just okay is not okay. Get a great deal with America's Best Network. Come into an AT&T store to find out how to get one of our popular smartphones for $0 down. Based on GWS 1 score September 2019.
Essilor is a proud sponsor of the Dallas Cowboys, helping fans see more and do more with our best vision solutions. Our lens technologies reveal a world more beautiful than you can imagine. For a limited time, get the Essilor Next Gen offer. When you buy the latest generation of Transitions lenses with select Essilor lenses, you can choose a second pair of clear lenses for free with qualifying frame purchases. Restrictions apply. Find a participating eye care professional by visiting EssilorUSA.com. Essilor, see more, do more.
So, you're shopping, and that's when you see it. Aisle 23. Dr. Pepper stacked from top to bottom as far as the eye can see. The phrase too good to be true comes to mind, yet there it is. A rich, delicious Dr. Pepper paradise. Wait, did that can of Dr. Pepper just open itself for you? They all are. As if to say, so nice to treat you. And even though it feels weird to talk to a can, you pick one up and say, it's so nice to be treated. Dr. Pepper, so nice to treat you.
Back to Talkin Cowboys.
So, as everybody knows on Talkin Cowboys, we go to Jack Black at this time.
Yeah, but you never
right?
explain.
Okay. Well, this time I'm going to explain it to you, Everson, because this week's special is BYOBs.
Okay.
You know what that stands for? Build your own bomb squad.
Okay.
So they've got about 9 lip balms that they're promoting.
Balm.
B-A-L-M.
Okay.
Not B-O-M-B,
Okay.
right?
Squad.
And the more you buy, the more you save. And you can choose from these limited edition flavors.
Okay.
All right? Black cherry.
Nice.
Natural mint and shea butter. I think that's got your name written all over it. Black tea and blackberry, pineapple mint, grapefruit, fruit, and ginger.
That's a heck of a flavor, right?
If you try to
stuff,
get
man.
to these lip balms, they're enriched with superior skin conditioners and antioxidant, smooth and relieve dry, chapped, irritated lips.
Can you taste the flavor?
Yes, you can.
I love that.
And if you buy 3 to 5,
don't eat the product. Just lick it every once
now
in a
these
while.
are those kind of little mini ones, right? So if you buy 3 to 5, you save 15%. 6 to 8, 25%, and if you go for all 9, 35%. So go to getjackblack.com and build now.
I like that, man. All that other stuff you've been reading has been
shea butter.
Bunch of crap.
Shea butter.
Get you some shea butter.
He brought it today.
The shea, man. You did. Yeah, you and
What
Jack
was it? The mint that's Colin Everson's name?
Yeah, I think so.
The shea.
He's already looking. Getjackblack.com.
There you go.
They make an awesome beard lube, by the way.
Isn't that great?
Yeah,
it's
a beer
awesome.
or beard?
Beer lube.
Beer.
I can't say
You
beer,
drink it?
so they beer.
No, not at all. Let's go to these multiple choice scenarios.
All right.
Oh, I can't wait.
I know. Mickey's going to tear these apart, and it's going to embarrass me, but that's okay. We're going to put everybody in the GM role. You are the GM of the Dallas Cowboys for the next 13 minutes or so. And in this, you're going to try and find out which of these 4 choices would give you the best chance to win a Super Bowl next year.
Okay.
All right? So option A, and this is pretty much the one that I think we've kind of talked about is the most likely to happen. Option A, sign Dak Prescott to a long-term extension, franchise tag Amari, let Byron Jones walk, sign Robert Quinn, and draft your secondary. What do you think about that?
I only get one of those?
No, that's we'll go through them all, but I kind of wanted your initial thoughts before we go into it.
I thought I got one to win the Super Bowl.
No. Okay, we'll go from there. We'll keep going. Option B is sign Dak Prescott, let Amari Cooper walk, tag Byron, sign Robert Quinn to an extension, and then draft a wide receiver at 17. So that's the second one. Third one, and this is where I start throwing some curveballs in here. Sign Dak Prescott, let Amari Cooper and Robert Quinn walk, trade for a wide receiver, and in this scenario I have Stephon Diggs because he's been very vocal over the last couple of days on Twitter about being disgruntled in Minnesota, so I think you could get him for cheap. Sign a guy like Chris Jones on the defensive line.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
On Stephon Diggs?
Yeah.
Is he a free agent?
He's not. You would have to trade for him.
So why could I get him for cheap?
Because he's disgruntled and he was a 5th-round pick, and you could potentially get him for a 3rd.
If I'm the GM, I tell him to go get in line.
Yeah.
Because once I do that for Stephon Diggs, then the next guy that's disgruntled at my front door.
Okay. And you are playing GM right now, so that
Yes.
I'm guessing that option's pretty much out at the moment.
I think that's out.
Draft safety at 17 was the last part of that.
And you don't know
one.
Mike Zimmer, but Mike Zimmer's pretty stubborn, too.
Yeah, he's not going to put up with any of that?
No.
Option D is let Dak Prescott walk, and this is the only one where Dak Prescott's not with the Dallas Cowboys. Sign Amari to a long-term extension. You tag Robert Quinn, sign Byron Jones as well, and then you also sign a quarterback in free agency. So those are the 4 options. I will go through those if you need to.
Okay, to me, and these Spags can be last.
I don't know if my options are available.
They're not available right now. You can give your own option if you want to. Your option E, like you were talking about. I'm going to give my own option.
I'm going to give option E, of course, everything.
There you go.
So I've got keeping Dak.
Okay.
I've got, if I had to, sign Cooper. I would hate to, but I would let Quinn go.
Okay. Why is that?
Because you've got a lot of studs coming out in the draft. And you've got plenty of studs come all around the league that would love to come to the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
That could fit in very well. I mean, that's what they did last year. They brought Quinn in from somewhere else.
Well, and his market value right now, at least according to Spot Track, is just under $12 million.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot for an edge rusher.
That is. And that's not a priority in regards to just that one player over everyone else. Mm-hmm. And I'm on this, and I know Barry Church thinks I'm crazy, but Byron Jones at safety is just so enticing to me.
Okay.
I know that he didn't do well. According to Barry Church, he just raked me over the coals. He said that he was garbage basically his first years playing safety. I think a guy with more experience after playing cornerback in the NFL, I've done it. And then when you separate yourself from that high intensity in your face competition, that involvement there, you take him back and let him think with that brain of his, with that athleticism that he has. Mm-hmm. I think he would be a much better playmaking safety than he is at cornerback.
Wow. So you're saying re-sign Byron Jones.
Yes.
Move him to safety.
I am saying that.
And then address corner elsewhere, whether it be the draft or free agency.
That's true. That's what.
But you're also not bringing back Robert Quinn at the same time.
I am not bringing back Robert Quinn. Only because I can't do it all.
Yeah, you can't do all of it. You got to pick and choose.
If I could keep Quinn, I'd keep Quinn. But if I had to choose between Jones and Quinn, talking about a guy who has much more potential to play in the league longer versus an older defensive lineman who was balling last year.
Absolutely.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose, I'd keep the younger stud and make him adapt to this position. Make him adapt because he is a playmaking athlete. Mm-hmm. He just needs to be put in position to make plays.
Interesting.
And safety would be the way to do that.
I didn't have that one on my radar.
I know nobody did. That's why Barry Church thinks I'm crazy.
Heckma?
The wheels are still spinning here. You gave me too many options.
Yeah, it's live. Go with your E. Go with your E, man.
I'm going to give him my options. I'm not going by
this. That's fine. That's fine.
Look, no, Kyle,
that's what it's about. It's provoking conversation.
I tell you what. Let me play the devil's advocate here. Make this a little interesting. So, sign and trade Dak. All right? Get some extra picks.
Okay.
Relegate those.
You're going straight to D.
I'm going straight to defense. I'm going straight to defense.
No, D, the option D is
I'm going straight to D. I guess I go and I get extra picks and I shore up my defense. I get some defensive linemen. I get a linebacker to help me with potentially the problem with Leighton Vander Esch if that's not corrected. I need a free safety, so I need an all-world free safety immediately.
Draft or sign?
Either way.
Okay.
Either way. And I look into free agency for guys like Kyle Van Noy. I need some guys that's going to apply pressure on the Mike Nolan's defense. I sign Amari Cooper. Give him a deal immediately. I keep my wide receivers.
Long-term,
big money.
Okay.
And I also get some guys, get some wide receivers in the draft. I go into free agency and I get me a quarterback that's just not going to blow it for me, and I get a game manager.
Basically, a game manager.
There it is.
Yeah.
Who
would be your? You're not nobody in mind right now.
Wait, you're gonna.
It's got to be a backup player.
Wait, you're gonna take this team.
I said I'm playing the devil's advocate here.
I know.
Man. Come on now.
I know, but I was trying.
Where'd you lose me? Where'd I lose you?
The quarterback.
Yeah. From the beginning.
I said extra picks. Sign and trade. I get extra picks from a team that has maybe a top 5 pick right now.
So Miami.
And I'm going to give this team to a rookie quarterback at this stage.
No. I'm not going to.
He didn't necessarily.
No. I'm not going to sign. I'm not going after a quarterback. I'm going after a defensive stud.
Well, who's quarterbacking?
I go into
Taysom Hill, baby.
No. Let's say I give you a name. What's my guy?
He's been waiting on that chance to come back up.
What's the other quarterback from New Orleans? Teddy Bridgewater.
Teddy B.
You're
And how
about
am I
to
getting
replace
him?
Dak Prescott with Teddy Bridgewater?
Is Teddy up? Is Teddy up?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, he is up on February 11th.
Hey, Mickey, it was multiple choice, all right? So you have one as well. So hold on, okay?
No, I was just trying to see who was playing quarterback.
I got you, Teddy Bridgewater. I just threw that out there. So
Teddy's the guy. Is a great player.
That's what I'm saying. So
what if he's the starting quarterback in New Orleans?
He's not going to be. Drew Brees hasn't retired yet.
I know.
So
don't
there
say
it is.
Now he did well, of course, in Drew Brees' stead. So come on. He's good.
He did.
First of all,
he did.
I think he's crazy.
He beat the Cowboys
I think he's
12
crazy.
I said I'm playing devil's advocate here. I prefaced my statement with that. And here's the thing. OPM, I'm spending someone else's money. I told you how I do it. So there you go.
But I mean, if I was going to go with a scenario of getting rid of Dak, which I never would, then not a bad option.
Hey, the pitchers and catchers reported for Major League Spring Training today, and Heckman's out here throwing curveballs at all of us.
You needed it. The show needed it. I'm here for it, guys.
Okay.
Come on.
Dak's my quarterback.
Okay.
Somehow, some way.
I like it.
All right. Amari Cooper's here somehow, some way.
If you can't choose everybody, I know if you're going down the list.
I can't.
Okay. Here he comes. Here he comes.
I'm going to let Robert Quinn test free agency, and I'll see what the market value is. Because we've been here before on some of these things, right? Who was it just recently? There was no way they would able to re-sign. I'm losing the guy's name. There's no way they can get a guy back, right? And they got him back because market value wasn't what everybody predicted, right? And Byron Jones, I'm going to let him test free agency. Let me see what the price is. You know, on one hand, with Byron Jones, we're saying, well, this guy's not very good. You know, I don't want to re-sign him for all that money. And then on the other hand, you're saying he's going to cost too much in free agency. So why would those teams out there think differently than what you think? I'm not paying money for a guy that doesn't get interceptions.
Yeah.
So what makes you think he's going to be unaffordable in free agency? So let him go out there and find out what the cost is, and then I'll judge if I can get those two guys back. I might be able to get them back. You know, it happened with, I know what it was. It was Terrence Williams. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, can't re-sign him. He's going to get signed as a number one receiver, and there was no market for him whatsoever. So sometimes you sit here.
I didn't know he was ever considered the number one receiver.
Well, that was the word at this point in that season. You know, it was like, well, he's going to get a big contract.
I always liked him, but I never looked at him.
And he never was.
No.
He was a 2 always, and always was going to be until he went off the deep end. So if those are the 4 guys we're talking about, under no circumstances am I leaving Amari Cooper or Dak, and I'll let those other guys.
Including
Quinn is 36,
right?
I don't think he's.
Whoa,
that old.
he's not that old.
But
I think he's 32.
32 maybe. What's the market value for that guy? Everybody keeps letting him go, right? Now, is he running into the same situation he did with the Rams and then Miami? That it was.
He's 29.
It was a 4-3 defense.
He's 29?
29.
Yeah. So
whoa,
probably
not 36.
He'll be 30.
Or 32. I thought he was in his
He's
30s.
an old soul.
He seems older than he is.
And he'll tell you that too.
He's got 8 years of experience. He was drafted in 2011. I mean, he's been around for a while.
So you just gave him the AARP card.
Yeah, I'm already giving him out the league. That changes a little bit in regards to my scenario because I thought he was much older.
Well, and the reason you thought that was because this will be his 10th season coming up.
Yeah.
So he entered probably pretty young. But he always ran into a 4-3 defense that was converting to a 3-4. Now, is he doing it again? But so, again, I think you got to let him test free agency, those 2 guys, and see what they're worth. And then I decide, can I match that offer, or is it going to be Anthony Hitchens? And I can't afford that much money on a weak side backup middle linebacker.
With a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, with a Super Bowl ring, right? So which, by the way, Morris Claiborne has a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, he does.
Sure does.
Played 8
Can
games.
you believe that,
eight
dude?
games and no playoff games, and he's got a Super Bowl.
You've got a linebacker
I
on the
knew
roster
that guy
right now
had
that has a
potential
Super
when he
Bowl ring.
first came out.
I do have what now?
You have a linebacker on the roster right now that has a Super Bowl ring. Malcolm Smith. He's an MVP too.
Yeah, is he free? Is he one of those free
I don't think
agents?
so. I think he's still here.
They signed him to a 2-year deal.
I think it was a 2-year. I might be wrong on that, but I don't.
So
have it in front of me.
anyway, so if those are the 4 guys we're talking about, but then see, I got other problems that you didn't mention. Who's my 3-technique defensive tackle?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's another thing you might have to look at in the draft.
Because I don't know that I can trust that Tristan Hill's going to just automatically go out there and be a 14-game starter.
I am interested
and you
to
may
see.
not get Tyrone Crawford back, and I like Malik Collins.
Yes.
But again,
is that where
Collins
you
is
were headed?
important, too.
I think that's where he was headed.
how much? Could it be an Anthony Hitchens deal where, I like this guy, but somebody really likes him?
Yeah.
And they pay him, all that guaranteed money.
Yeah, with his decor going to the Raiders, he may end up going there because, obviously players follow coaches as well, which you were talking about with Cobb. And so look, when I talk about all of these different scenarios, after free agency, there's going to be a lot more needs than we know right now. And so you may be looking at a completely depleted defense if Byron Jones does test the market, and let's say the Philadelphia Eagles, as it's rumored, is coveting his athletic ability. And they sign him to a max deal, and everybody's standing around going, wait a minute, bye-bye Byron Jones. And so that's going to be one of the biggest things about free agency for us is how big is that hole going to be, and do we have the players under contract right now to fill that void, or are we in the free agent abyss from here on?
And look, if you're into free agency, so do you want the devil you know or the one you don't know?
Yeah.
Because there's a reason why these other guys are free agents,
That's
right?
the point.
Somebody didn't want
You got a
them.
lot of retreads out there.
Right.
A lot of retreads. And you have to figure out which one works with your system.
Right.
Quinn came in and did a good job for us last
Yes,
year.
he
That was a
absolutely
pleasant
did.
surprise. So whatever problems he had earlier, we don't have to deal with it. Cooper, same thing, came in. Whatever problems he had in Oakland, we don't have to worry about that because he's doing well for us. So
And knowing the Cowboys' kind of philosophy on free agency, they'd rather sign their own guys than take a chance on somebody you don't know.
You can also talk about Mike McCarthy and the coaching staff getting their guys, kind of how we alluded to earlier. Talking about
who does
how
Mike Nolan want? Who
they're-
does Mike
those
Nolan
guys are
want
out
at
there.
linebacker?
Exactly.
Who does he want at linebacker?
They're going to be those prototypical players that at least prototypical in the minds of the coaching staff.
And Sean Lee's
going to be
coming
out
back.
there.
He wants to
He
play.
wants to come back and play.
And, he's second on the team in tackles, by the way.
Yeah.
And the first year he played all 16 games.
Wasn't as much of a drop off as you'd think.
Now he's gonna turn 34.
See, that's the guy I was thinking about.
But now, what do you? How much do you?
He said 36.
36. That was the guy I was thinking about.
How much do you want to give him? And how much is he looking for? And how much is somebody else going to offer him?
Was his base like $7 million?
He took a $4 million cut last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was 3-5, and then there was incentives.
Okay.
But it had been like $7 million base.
Yeah, for that, though, you could sign 2 linebackers in free agency. I mean, look, Sean Lee, I love Sean Lee. His athletic ability, just reckless abandon at the linebacker position. I hate to even talk about Sean Lee leaving the Dallas Cowboys, but here we are under this new system, and he may not fit what Mike Nolan wants to do at 4-3, 3-4. No matter what, they're going to be applying pressure. They're not going to sit back like they did last year and no blitzing at all. They know that they have to apply pressure, so you got to have
that might bode well for Sean.
There it is.
But see, here's the deal:
more aggression.
He gives you. He's your Swiss Army knife at linebacker.
Yeah,
because he can start at the strong side, assuming Van Der Esch is good, and he can back up all 3 spots.
He must be reliable.
Yeah.
Right.
Last year, with all the tackles, we can talk about all the things that we did do.
And he was there.
There were things
That's
that
the
we
big
just
thing,
didn't
health.
do well. He did not tackle well last year. Now, that was an aberration for him because that's the first time I've ever seen him miss so many, I wouldn't say easy tackles, but what we thought were sure tackles. Hopefully that was just an aberration for him. And if he comes back this year and we keep him, then he could be that guy that we could depend on.
See, and he played much better when he was on the weak side than when he was on
the strong
side. I mean, you're going to play 20 snaps a game, 25 snaps, right? But the insurance policy of, whoa, what if the guy on the weak side gets hurt? Well, Sean Lee can play there. Well, who's your backup in the middle? Oh, Sean Lee can play there. And he can play the strong side. And then when you get to the nickel, well, who's your backup there? Now, they did make a change towards the end, saved him some snaps. They had Thomas out there on the nickel. So they kind of changed that up a little bit.
He has to realize things.
And the other thing is I don't know how much you want Jalen Smith on your nickel defense.
Yeah, exactly.
Once again, we have shown ourselves to be susceptible to running backs and tight ends. Running backs out of the back and tight
quarterbacks that can be mobile too.
Oh wow, man! Until we can address that, then Sean Lee is still going to be a question mark for us because he created something last year to where he was exposed in certain situations. I did not know that he would have that kind of problem with tight ends before last year. Now it's been shown.
And what did I say at the beginning of the show? I said all the options are still open for the Dallas Cowboys when it comes to the offseason. We've talked through a bunch of those, but really the dominoes haven't even begun to fall. Haven't even started falling, but we're out of time here from the SWBC Mortgage Studios. Yeah, we're a little bit over. That's okay.
I thought you were going to tell me it was 11:45. I said, no, we can go to noon.
Yeah. I'm going to send in my overtime.
We're at 12:05, yeah. But
yeah, good luck with that.
Special thanks for Heckma Harrison hopping in and his DallasCowboys.com radio debut.
Yeah, right.
Everson Walls for Mickey Spagnola. I'm Kyle Yeomans filling in for Bill Jones. They'll be back next week here on Talkin Cowboys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!